I'll tell you. Oh, we're ready. All right, give me just a second. It's still loading, actually.
Okay.
All right. Hi, friends. I am really happy to introduce you to one of my lovely friends, Miss Tracey Callahan, also known as the Traveled Chef. She's a classically trained chef who graduated with honors from the Culinary Institute of Americas in San Antonio campus. She's an amazing chef, by the way. I've had her food, and she also gave us an awesome cooking class. She developed her love and passion for food at a very young age, growing up in the south end of Hartford, Connecticut's Little Italy. And I know that she's traveled the world with her previous career, and so her cuisine is really eclectic, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And she uses nutrition to heal. She did that. She's going to share a little bit more about her story. So thanks for being here, friend. How are you today?
Hi, Brittany. Good morning. Thanks for having me. This is so exciting. I really am super passionate about food and health. And I've been very, very lucky because I was in the Air Force for 23 years and I served all over the world. And during that time, I was always able to, bring food and bring us all together because when you're overseas, you're not with your family. So you make family among your friends and your coworkers. And with that, I had the good fortune to live in Italy and England and Japan. I visited Europe, really the Mediterranean and Asia and Southwest Asia quite a bit during my 23 years. So, eating is always fun. Everyone loves to eat, but I was lucky to be able to learn the the styles and components that these different cultures bring together for their meals.
So even
And with
before you went
that,
to culinary school, you were cooking in the
right,
military? Oh, for your
yes.
friends and everyone and
Yes.
learning about the
So
styles.
I would cook for, our whole unit, like 120 people in certain locations when I had the opportunity, and people would help. And so we would get to have a holiday dinner together, like home. But yes, and I was really super duper fortunate when I got the opportunity to go to culinary school. That had just always been a dream of mine, not to necessarily, work, but just to go to school. But then I ended up creating my own personal chef business and working in a lot of different parts of the food industry.
And what I know about you is you're into delicious food, but also food that is great for healing and also healthy and provides us with so much vitality. Like, how did you get into that aspect of
Well, the
eating?
interesting thing is, you can look back in life and say, wow, I was really interested. I've always been interested in nutrition, but not to the degree that I am today. So a few years ago, I had breast cancer. And that was a shock and everything. And you go through treatment. I went through surgery and radiation, but then I noticed that that just knocked my body out of control. My blood work was different, this and that. My doctor wanted me to go on statins, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And what I did was I used the approach of using food as my medicine. And I
And
went
how
and
did you know
altered
to
my
do that?
diet. Well, Hippocrates said that, how many thousands of years ago, but it's just something that I knew a little bit about. But then I went ahead and started researching it. I got a health and human performance degree from Kaiser University. So that kind of helps with understanding your body and how it moves and how you should move it. And then I also did a certification in holistic nutrition. So I was able to put my knowledge of cooking and already the good ingredients and different diets that I had come across, and just ways of eating. And I merged that with knowledge. And so the first year, my cholesterol was 316, and then I reduced it to 247. So my doctor
With
was just like,
nutrition only.
with nutrition only. So that's why I'm just so passionate about it, because there's so many things that we have control of, but we don't even realize that. We don't recognize it. And it's really as simple as making a good food choice. Getting rid of the extra sugar and the ultra processed food that has just become so abundant. People say, oh, eating healthy is very expensive, but it's not really, because the amount of money people spend on the fast food or processed foods, sugar, is going to cost you later on in healthcare costs. It's time away from your family, time away from your loved ones, time away from work. And if you can't go to work, well, you're not going to have money to pay your healthcare bills and then prescriptions. This is, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. So my mission is to really help people and teach them how to use food as medicine. And another interesting, it's just how things align one after another. And you can look back and say, wow, so I had been doing all this work and research to learn about what kind of foods I need to eat or maybe stop eating, and what I can use to boost my immune system and things like that. Well, then, don't you know, I run across this Dr. William Lee, and he is, I don't know if anyone else has heard about him or if you have,
I
besides
don't
me
think I
telling you
have,
about him,
but I'm a
but
new.
he's a medical doctor, a research doctor, and he's also put out a lot of pharmaceuticals for cancer. But he has books out now and courses that you can take that teach you about what foods to eat to combat different diseases. So I was able to take that class too. I took his course in December, and it was an online class. So that just made me really happy, because it reinforces everything that I've been working towards. And now I can refer someone from other than my knowledge and research that I've done to a person who's got books out there, and he's a medical doctor and he does the research.
That's
So, I
awesome. Let
mean,
me ask you this, because you were at the doctor and they're like, here, get on this statin, right? Which in some aspects, well, initially, in a lot of aspects, is easier just to take a dang pill every day than to go and say, hold on, I'm gonna have to change my eating habits. I'm gonna have to change like my mindset around how I eat.
right.
If you can remember back to that, what was that like? What made you decide to go that route versus the statin? And also, how did you get started on making those changes?
Well, maybe I'm a little stubborn, but
Sometimes that works in our favor.
you know, but having cancer was something that I couldn't control. I couldn't control that happening to me. I mean, it happened at the time. And so I had to do what I had to do. But now deciding to adjust my diet to make my life better, it was kind of like a no-brainer. Sure, there might be some struggles or some hurdles, but when you have the long-term benefit of, if I change my way of life,
So you
then
knew
I
it was
have
gonna
the
make a difference, like you were convinced, because some people don't think food
correct.
is medicine, right? Like that is a place that some people are like, what I eat makes no difference. It does not affect
Oh,
my
it
health.
does.
So
It does
you were
because
like, I know that this in the long run is gonna have benefits for me.
right. the food is what gives our body the fuel it needs to live and to sustain our organs and every function within our body. That's like a really interesting thing. Was one of the classes I had to take was anatomy and physiology, and then exercise physiology, and how our body converts everything we eat and drink into good or bad. And then, I mean, we could go down a whole nother rabbit hole about the gut microbiome. But when you take a look at it, it was like I had smoked too. I had smoked cigarettes for quite a long time. And so when they told me about the cancer and then I had to have radiation, I quit smoking like cold turkey. And so I had to do something hard, but I knew that if I quit smoking, I was going to be able to heal faster from the
Yeah, I hear
radiation.
that. We can do those hard
Yeah,
things when we need
it's
to.
really, but the hard things pay off because you know what's crazy? Like I drive my sister crazy now because I have so much energy because I don't smoke anymore. So I'm always busy and doing this and that and the other thing. But my life, like my health is wonderful. It's great. I'm happy, I'm energetic. I work out all the time, and it
You
just,
do.
I can feel that I'm at a different level than I was before. And it's just like it makes you want to take care of yourself more. It's like a big hug. And, a lot of times we give to everyone else, but we forget about ourselves. And you just keep giving, giving, giving. But what we really need to do is take care of ourselves first. And your health is all you have. So I don't want to be like old and I can't walk around and I can't move and, overweight, obese, with a plethora of things that, our medical system is great insofar as, there's a lot of research out there. There's things that they can help us with, but it's more of an acute thing. It's not, they can say, okay, I cut myself, so give me stitches. I need surgery, but we can use the food so that when we get into some health situations, that we don't need the medicine. The medicine's not going to cure us long term. And
The
just
lifestyle
like with
makes such a difference.
the statin was going to cause other side effects. So I just chose to go the natural way.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you choose lifestyle medicine. So for people who are wanting to start eating healthier, which I think is almost every single human I know, who nutrition's one of those areas where I hear very often, I could do better. And usually my response is,
Right.
I think most of us could. What do you suggest? Like, what are some tips you have when it comes to getting started on
Well,
eating healthier?
just getting started, you can start with reading food labels because whatever the ingredients are, if you can't say it, you shouldn't eat it.
Okay, start with
You
reading
can't
food
say what the
labels. If you can't
ingredient is.
say it, you probably should put it down, not eat it. What else? Anything
Right,
else
just
with the
put it
food
down. Just
labels?
go ahead. I mean, and if you start looking at the nutrition labels and the ingredients of food, you're gonna realize, and my rule is 5 ingredients or less.
Okay, so if you look and there's like, oh, there's 7 ingredients, but it says it's whole grain and gluten free. Doesn't matter, still put it back down. It's
Oh,
processed, right?
well, and that's the thing. We don't want to go into the ultra processed foods. And those things usually have a big long list of ingredients and a lot of things you can't even say. So it's just like, well, what is this, sucralose and all these oses? Um, those aren't good for you.
It really is
So,
misleading because you see like the box and it's like natural and whole grain, gluten-free, non-GMO. And then sometimes you look at the label and I'm like, oh wait, this thing is full of sugar. This is full of like
Right.
unhealthy oils,
Sodium,
a bunch of stuff I can't read. And
right?
this is actually not good for you. And yet here we think, because of creative marketing, that it's
Well, the
healthy.
Industrial Revolution, and processed foods became a thing. The way I look at it too is eat a food that is as close to how it was born.
Okay,
So
eat foods
broccoli,
closest to its natural,
does that make
just way,
sense?
yeah, way it was.
So it's a natural food. There's one ingredient, and then you can go ahead and mix it with a little garlic, some onions, and look at your plate. You really want your plate to have at least 50% vegetables. And a piece of protein is not that big T-bone steak that they serve at restaurants. It's the size of your palm. And we have a lot of just really helpful tips that we can use to help us make decisions, especially when we go out. Sometimes it's easier just to ask them to leave the bread off the table, or those chips and salsa,
So I tell clients all
you
the time, I'm
know.
like, you gotta get rid of the booby traps because they're everywhere and we know where we fall down, right? We've been down that
Right.
same
And
road so
the
many
other thing is
times.
too, it's a lot of it is it's not it's like you have to look at the things that we can eat, and there are a lot of foods that we can eat. And I mean, I have lists and lists of food, and one of my practices is to give someone a list of food and say, okay, circle all the foods you like. And so then if you start with all the foods you like, and then maybe you get to learn some new foods to eat, because this could be similar to that, but you just don't know it because you haven't been exposed to it.
So you educate, like, so say I circle, I like cucumbers. You might be like, oh, okay, but have you tried, I don't know,
Right. And
watercress or
just the
something?
benefits
And
of cucumber. And some people might say, oh, I really don't like cucumber. But okay, if you throw cucumber in a smoothie with some parsley and ginger and water and maybe other fruits, then you're going to have a nice cleansing, refreshing drink. Another thing would be just to simply put some mint or lemon in your
mm,
water. Infuse your water with fruits and herbs. So then that could help you to get more water in per day. And it just feels good. Like, you'd be amazed when you just put a little concoction together of just like that cucumber, ginger, and maybe some mint, and
sounds good.
put that in a big container full of water and leave it there to sit. And then the next day, fill your water jug with
Then you
that
feel like
water,
you're at
and
the spa.
you really, really do. So there are little, and that those are the kinds of things that I like to teach people about, because we all know making change is difficult, but when you really put yourself at the top of the list and you say, you know what, I value everyone else, but I'm going to value myself. And I want to do this for me so I can feel better, so I can have more energy, so I can feel attentive. So, there's just very, very easy ways to incorporate different things into a way of life. A lot of people make short term goals, or goals that, are short term, or they never finish them, but it's a matter of making things into a habit. And then when you make a
That's great
habit, then
advice.
every day you just remind yourself of your choices that you have to make for that day. So there's just different steps that I use to help people come to fruition, and then realize, oh, I can do
I
this, and
can
it's
do
not
this.
hard,
Yes.
and I'm not depriving myself. And who's more important than me? And I mean, it's not in a selfish way I'm saying that, but it's in a way for you to be able to use all the gifts that you were given in the manner they were meant. You know, it goes super deep.
So tell us, Tracy, you have so many ways in which you can support people with their nutrition, with creating healthy habits, with putting themselves on the list, right? Like choosing to
Right,
take care of themselves.
exactly.
How can people get in contact with you?
Well, they can go to my website. It's thetraveledchef.com.
And I shared that,
And
everybody, so check her out.
and even Facebook. I have a Facebook page, and I usually send out a lot of stuff on my Instagram. But you can on the website, it's my telephone number, so you can call me. And another thing too that's probably different for me is that I can also teach you how to cook.
You taught
So,
us a
and
cook. She gave
you
us a cooking class. It was amazing.
use good
Fun.
methods to make the meals and maybe teach you how to do a meal prep. Like say, okay, well, this is what we're going to eat this week. So, we'll go get the groceries and I can teach that. And the thing is that people will say, oh, will you just meal prep for me? Well, I don't want to do that because I want you to learn how to do it for yourself because that's going to have a lasting effect. It's not just going to be here, I made you your meals and I put them in your fridge for you. And so you pull it out and eat what you want. That doesn't help you to learn how to make the decisions,
And how
on how,
empowering once you get over that roadblock of, hey, actually, I can meal prep, and because you're gonna show us how
right,
to do it simply, how to do it effectively and sustainably, so that, okay, week after week, I can
right,
meal prep, and then it becomes so that it's not a, like you said, it becomes a habit, and it's not this big, overwhelming task, which, let's be honest, meal prep
right.
feels like that for
And
a
it
lot
is,
of
I mean,
us.
meal prep is hard, but, and it's a matter too of being able to make good choices at restaurants.
Knowing what to eat when you
And
go
there's
out to
always a
eat.
salad, but and restaurants today, thank God, they're pretty amenable to creating, look at the menu. Oh, well, I don't want this, but I want this. So they usually let you, customize things, and
Yeah, you
that's
just have to
nice.
ask. And be
That's it.
intentional, right? There's so many temptations when you pull out that menu, like, oh, I think I'll get a fish and
Right.
broccoli and maybe a sweet potato, and then you see that pasta and loaded mac and cheese.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And the thing is, too, it's like it's not that you can't have, I love pizza. Pizza is my favorite food in the whole wide world. Okay, so I make my own dough and I make my own pizza, but I do go out for it sometimes. But I just don't eat it like I used to eat it when I was younger. I used to have a slice of pizza, at least once a week because I needed it.
yeah, of course, right? Yeah, I think
Now,
like not to
I don't
restrict
have that.
food because it makes things like off limits absolutely, forbidden. First of all, then we
Right.
want it more. And second of all, for most of us, I mean, obviously, if you're allergic or you feel sick after you eat something or you don't like it, then don't eat it. But if there's a food you love, yes, there's healthy alternatives to make it. And like sometimes we can have it and it's not the end of the world.
Right. And ice cream's another one. I, if I have a craving for ice cream, I might hold on to that craving for a month or two or three. But when I have that ice cream, I'm going to have ice cream that has like three ingredients in it,
Perfect.
and
Yeah.
it's going to be the best ice cream out there. So, I mean, if I have
Quality.
to save up to buy real expensive ice cream or something, I will. But I'm
Before
going to
we
eat the best of
Yeah, eat the
whatever's
best food you
out.
can. Before we go, because I totally get like, yes, we're gonna pay for it later if we don't take care of our health now. For people listening, there may be people who are like, yeah, and like it is more expensive to eat healthy now, and I really am on a budget. Like I have a fixed income. I don't have a lot of money to go buy a lot of more expensive quality ingredients. Could you give us just a few tips if you're trying to eat healthy on a budget?
Well, what I would say is first, make a grocery list because that's where I go wrong. When I don't go in and follow the list, I end up spending more money. So make the list And if you're going to get like carrots, okay, make sure maybe you get the bigger pack, but you use the carrots for many meals. And you just buy the best quality of what you can afford. And you can go to different stores, and I don't want to say different stores, we all know which stores are less expensive that have better quality foods as well. So do that, or maybe go in with a friend and say, hey, you have a membership to this store. Can we go in on the family pack and we can split that cost? So there are ways to do it. Or maybe you go in with your friend and you say, hey, I'll plan 3 meals this week if you plan 3 meals. And then, you just share the cost among each other.
I love that.
But it's definitely doable. It really, really is. And you just have to do some planning. That's
Yeah, and look for
probably the biggest
sales.
culprit.
Brown rice and
Sales for
beans
sure.
go a long
And you
way.
know where? I go to this one store quite a bit, and
I
it's an
probably go there
expensive
too.
store,
Oh yeah.
but they have a lot of buy one, get ones.
Okay, yes.
So that's my whole purpose of going to that store, is to buy one, get one free. So then I'll buy the reduced sodium tomatoes, the, olive oil. And once you know the right foods to buy, then it's going to come. You're going to see them over and over and over
It
again,
becomes
and you'll
easier after
know,
a while. You don't have to
right,
search the labels because you know, okay, there's 3 ingredients in that, it's quality, or
right.
that's how I want to eat. This is what I need to get. That's on sale, and it does. It
Maybe
becomes
if you become
easier.
an extreme couponer. No, I don't
That too,
know.
probably, yeah. And then there's another store that when you were saying there's a store I shop at, there's another store I'd like to shop at. It's a lot less expensive, and they have organic items. And you just don't always get
That's
everything
the
you need in
one.
that store. But yeah, so yeah, I
Right.
think being intentional and you know, making effort and eating healthy some of the time is better than never eating healthy.
Right.
Never
Exactly.
nourishing yourself.
Eating a lot of vegetables is really, really helpful. Plant-based is, there's a lot of different diets and things out there, but eating more plants and vegetables and fruit is one of those things that we can all do every day. And I mean, if you get that big giant bag of broccoli, you can have broccoli soup, you can have roasted broccoli, you can have sauteed broccoli. And you know what else? Just one more thing about that broccoli, the stem. No one really
Mm,
likes to eat the stem, but that really has a lot more of the healthy compounds in it.
that's good
The
to
whole
know. I
thing,
didn't know that.
sulforaphane, and that's an anti-cancer
Okay.
component, right? So the stem has more than the rest of the broccoli. So now what I've been doing is just taking that stem and slicing it and cutting it up into smaller pieces, and then I'll throw it in with the rest of the broccoli. So now you just have more fiber and
Okay.
something a
Thanks for
different
that tip.
texture,
That's good to know.
a
Because
different
I'm thinking I'm
texture.
wasting so much of this broccoli. I need to give
Right,
it a try.
exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tracy, so much. Anything else you want to add before we go?
I just want to say, please feel free to reach out. And I look forward to helping as many people as I can, because we all need a little bit of help, and sometimes we need some encouragement. We can do anything we put our minds to. And we're all here for purpose. And so we need to be at our best to fulfill that purpose and use our gifts.
Amen to that. Thank you. Yes, please reach out to Tracy. She's an amazing human being, and as you can see, she's a wealth of knowledge in this realm of nutrition, making healthy habits, and you'll love to know her. I love her. Thank you, Tracy.
You're
Bye,
sweet.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye.